Good afternoon. Good afternoon, 5 o'clock here at WDBO. Our top story, former President Trump is telling a New Hampshire crowd that his poll numbers are going up after every indictment.
One more indictment that I think this election's over.
He also added President Biden is weaponizing the Department of Justice. His comments come as a judge considers whether to issue a protective order in his election interference case. The DOJ is asking the judge to place limits on Trump's speech about the case after the former president posted, "If you go after me, I'll come after you." Trump's lawyers claim such a move would violate the First Amendment. Speaking in Arizona, President Biden touts the Inflation Reduction Act, which pledged over $300 billion to climate investments over the next decade.
Last year, I signed the largest climate bill in the history not only of the United States, but literally in the history of the world. It's the biggest investment in climate conservation and environmental justice ever, anywhere in the history of the world.
The president says the country is on track to cutting all emissions in half by 2030. And authorities in Montgomery, Alabama, tracking down suspects in a brawl that's gone viral.
Ongoing police work helped by viral cell phone video in the Montgomery, Alabama riverfront brawl. Police Chief Darrell Albert issuing warrants for 3 white suspects in the alleged assault of a black dock worker, Damian Pickett, on Saturday. Beaten, the chief says, in a dispute over an improperly parked boat. The suspects, 48, 23, and 25 years old, caught on camera and now turning themselves in.
We're doing all we can to not only bring this case to a close, but prevent it from happening in the future.
The chief calling it a standalone incident, a disturbing one involving a dock worker attacked for doing his job. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
5:02 here at WDBO.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joe Kelley. That's Laura Lee. There's Paul Cross. Hi, Beth. Hi, Paul. Hi, Karen. Thanks for joining us here today. Paul, don't tell the story that I'm about to tell on the radio, okay? Paul already knows.
Hi, friends.
Something happened in the last hour.
I don't know either. He won't tell me. Here's my guess, everybody. I think he got in trouble for flying his drone somewhere he wasn't supposed to. But Paul knows.
That sounds like something I would do, yes.
Yeah, but since Paul knows, that must not be right. Okay, I don't know then.
That does sound like something that would happen to me, yes.
When does that law kick in where you have to have a ID number for your drone? When does that kick in?
September 1st.
Okay, it's not that yet.
Not yet.
Exactly, Beth. That's why I thought, I'm like, oh, he took it somewhere he wasn't supposed to.
Honestly, it's so hot today that flying a drone today would, I wouldn't worry about me getting overheated as much as I would worry about the drone getting overheated.
I ran up just to the pet store to get my precious little cat his precious little upset belly food, and I was sweating just walking
it's
from
crazy.
the store to the car.
It is so hot outside. So hot.
Yeah. You walk to the mailbox, you got to come home
Hello,
and change
Jorge.
your shirt.
Exactly, Paul.
Yeah, I made it back to work on time. By the skin of my teeth. Michael, I was hoping it was a Joe Biden story. I don't have any Joe Biden stories to tell, I'm afraid. Chris is on the right track.
Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic. Well, seeing brake lights now on I-4 westbound through Lake Mary, and then from Parr on to the 408 eastbound ramp. Sand Lake to 535 and 192. You're on and off the brakes all the way through Champions Gate. I-4 eastbound is still heavy through the Disney area. And then approaching the Turnpike, you're going to tap the brakes again between Parr and Lee, and from Lake Mary Boulevard now over the bridge. Having tech issues? No worries. Visit Refresh Computers, Central Florida's budget computer store. Visit Refresh Computers in Longwood or at refreshcomputers.net. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
Local news, national news, even feel-good news, delivering the topics that are relevant to you.
That's why I listen to Joe. He covers it all.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
Oh, man, have I had an eventful last hour. What an exciting hour I've had in the hour leading up to the start here of the Joe Kelley Show. Hey, Laurel, do you remember, and Paul Cross, do you remember, I don't know if, I lose track of time. I can't tell time anymore. But I don't know, it could have been a week ago or 2 weeks ago or a few months ago. It might have been a few years ago. Do you remember when I was bragging about how I have never, ever, ever in my life, I have never lost my cell phone, ever. I've never broken the screen on my cell phone, ever. I have never lost my car keys, ever. And I'm always perplexed when people are like, oh, I broke my phone and I lost my phone and I can't find my keys. And I'm like, how in the world do people misplace things so frequently? And then somebody, and I don't remember who it was, but somebody pointed out that I do have my own thing that's directly associated with me. Do you remember that conversation at all, either one of you?
I do remember the conversation, yes.
And do you remember what the results of it were, of what my thing is? So if my thing is not losing my phone, breaking my phone, losing my keys, remember somebody said, "Oh, Joe, but you do get something a lot."
Sick.
Oh yeah.
No, well, that's
a given. Yeah, we know that one.
I don't know that.
You're not even trying at this point.
What happens to Joe all the time? And it has to do with travel.
Oh, your tire goes flat.
So I get a text message from my car. My car's been sitting out in the parking lot all day since like 8:30 this morning. My car's been out in the parking lot. And then just before 4 p.m., my car sends me a text message. I'm always intrigued that my car can send me a text message. But so I get a text message from my car and it says, your right rear tire is flat. And I'm like, nah, it can't be. It's been sitting in the parking lot all day. How could it possibly have a flat tire? And so I went out to the car and sure enough, there is a nail in my right rear tire. And it is at this point, right at 4 o'clock, we go on the air at 5 o'clock. Okay. So I've got an hour. I got an hour to figure out what to do. And it is 103 degrees on the asphalt. I mean, it is so brutally hot outside. And I'm imagining myself changing a tire, and the problem is the spare is a donut. It's not even a full-size spare. So that means I'm going to have to change it again later, or I could hop in my car, say a prayer that my tire will stay inflated enough to make it down to the Goodyear store on Colonial near John Young Parkway, right across from the sheriff's office. And honestly, when I walk in, they're like, "Oh, it's you again." I'm like, shut up, all of you, shut up.
Mr. Kelley, your tires are ready for you over here.
It is so embarrassing. Every time I walk into Goodyear, they're like, "It's you again. What do you keep driving through?" I'm like, I don't know what I'm driving through. Y'all stop littering nails on the highways. So frustrating. So I drop my car off, and then of course, I've got to get back to the radio station. So I hailed an Uber and I get back to the radio station with like 12 minutes to spare before the show starts. And then the Goodyear closes at 6, but I don't get off the air till 7. So that means I can't get my car back tonight, which means I don't have a car. Hey, Laurel.
I was just like, uh-oh.
Driving Joe home. Yeah?
I guess I am.
Hey, Laurel. Laurel, you live out that way, don't you?
Are you going to ask me on the air? I can't back out if you ask me on the air.
You're kidding? Suppose I could catch a
He's
ride.
cornering me.
You could throw me in the back.
Laurel, don't you have that thing to do right after
Oh,
you
I'm
get
so
off of
busy.
work?
You could throw me in the bed of your pickup truck. I don't care at this point. I will just grab onto the undercarriage of your truck. I don't care.
I look like Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future. He'll just be on his skateboard tagging along while you're driving.
That's right. So this is just terrible. Absolutely terrible. And it's so hot outside. I just can't even imagine just, having to deal with this heat. I feel for people who work outdoors, for people who have to be outside. I know that our landscapers here at the radio station were here yesterday, and it was everybody in the comment thread is saying that they have plans with you tonight, Laurel. So
thank you. We do. We're all very busy.
Oh, they all have our back. I love that.
And I would ask my wife to come pick me up, but we share a car. We only have one car. In this economy, who can afford two cars?
So you messed
days?
her up too by breaking the car?
What's that?
She no longer has a car. You messed her
That's
up
right.
too by breaking the car.
Now none of us have a car. That's right. So we are completely hosed and we're not able to leave the house. I can't leave work. She can't leave the house.
So Laurel, you're going to have to swing by in the morning and pick up Joe.
That's right.
Holy moly.
But the good news is in the morning, you only have to drive me to the Goodyear place. You don't have to drive me all the way to work.
Oh,
that's
it's only 40 minutes instead of the 50 minutes.
Definitely good news there. So
Joe, I have the sound effect, but I wish I could play sound effects on the air, but I can't.
Does it go something like this? Does it go womp, 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 womp?
No, it's part of that comment that I sent to you, regarding the Flintstones.
You tweeted me, right? Why? Oh, yes. How is it?
You need one of those stone-wheeled cars that just doesn't break down, but the Flintstone thing is when they go
and they're pedaling with their feet. Yes.
And that's kind of what I was looking for. It would be just perfect for
now. How is it 2023 and we have artificial intelligence that can do pretty much everything I need to have done, but we still have tires that go flat? How is that possible that we have tires that could go flat? I object.
One step at a time. Your car let you know the tire was flat.
That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool because I would tell you, I would be far more off-put if I got off there at 7 o'clock and went out to the parking lot and got into my car and got half a block down the road before I realized I had a flat tire. So I don't know how I didn't think my car even has thumbs. So I don't know how it text messaged me. And I think it's pretty cool that my car and my car's not fancy. It's not like I drive a Ferrari or anything. It's just a Lamborghini. So it's not that, fancy of a car or anything. It's a Chevy Malibu, for heaven's sake. But it was sure cool that it texted me and let me know that there was going to be a problem. And it gave me enough time to get it down to Goodyear before they closed and to get them to fix it. Now, at the same time, I should point out that my check engine light is on, and that came on a couple days ago. And I've been ignoring it for a couple days. I thought, I'll deal with it later. So I asked the guys at Goodyear. I was like, hey, as long as you have my car, can you guys do a diagnostics on it? Can you check it? And the guy says, well, not today. And I look at my watch, which I don't have a watch, but I always just look at my bare wrist as if I'm telling time from the freckles on my wrist. And I said, you got like 2 hours before you close. And he said, yeah, but a diagnostic takes a lot longer than that. I'm like, you don't just plug it in and it gives you a code and it tells you what it is. And he says, well, it gives you a code and it tells you what it is, but it doesn't specify where it is or exactly what it is. And it still takes an extra hour to be able to, blah, 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 blah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. So very, very frustrated I am that I suffered from yet another flat tire. I don't know where I drive.
Apparently, you don't have to drive. You just have to park.
That's right. Just parked all day. My tires are like, screw this, I'm out.
Well, I don't know about you or anybody else, but with the heat and then the rain and then the heat and then the rain, my truck and my husband's Camaro and my daughter's SUV all were giving us low tire pressure things. So I don't know.
That's interesting because the opposite should be true. Because when it's really cold outside, that is when the air condenses in your tires and you'll get a low tire warning when it's really, really super duper cold. When it's really, really warm, you should not have a low tire warning on your tire.
Well, all three of us were getting low tire warnings and I had to go fill her up at the old Wawa there. So I don't know. But
and are you sure you don't have slow leaks in all of your tires?
I'm not sure.
Were you using the name of Joe Kelley in a
That's right.
sentence when these things were
Yeah,
going on?
right. And my tires overheard,
Oh God.
and they immediately started leaking.
I am cursed with flat tires. Somebody in the chat group also mentioned car batteries. Yes, I also have an issue with car batteries. So car tires and car batteries. And I don't know, honest to goodness, if I knew where I was getting nails in my tire, I thought I was getting my wife just texted me. Oh my God.
Is this the first she's hearing of this?
No, I texted her earlier.
I was gonna like to. She's like, Joe.
No. But my wife just texted me and said, you should tell them about the windshield too.
Oh, yes, you should. So let's go back to what? March, right?
So
In March. Joe
You guys had a windshield. You guys had a windshield party.
We
in the
did. We had a
parking lot, didn't
windshield party at the radio station. Joe just hit his head on the desk.
did. That
from
hurts.
Frustration
I'm
and
gonna have a
laughter.
bruise now.
So Joe was like, "Hey, my windshield on my car is shattered."
It
And
had a crack.
Josh
It had a crack from
McCarthy
from
said,
a stone that I hit.
"Yes."
That
Josh
hit
McCarthy
me.
also said, "Hey, I have a crack in my windshield too." And I said, "Oh my gosh, I have a crack in my windshield too."
So all three of us had cracks in our windshield.
So we decided to have a windshield replace party. We all called Safe Light,
because they're right around the corner from us.
and they sent three different technicians.
Three separate technicians
To our dismay.
at three different times of the day.
To the same location, the same parking
location.
lot.
At one point, I think there was crossover. I think like two of them are here at the same time, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Dude, what are you doing here?" "I don't know, man. Dude, what are you doing here?" And so now, my windshield isn't how many months old? March, April, May, June.
So 4
July.
months old.
Yeah. And we were driving somewhere on a road, and a rock kicked up, and it scared the daylight. It was a big rock, and it hit the windshield, and now it is a giant. This is a much bigger crack than the last one I had.
Oh no, and it's not free because you only get one free a year.
What?
That's right. Is that not true? Florida
Is
gives you
that
one free a year, and that's it.
Is that a thing?
I think so.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure you only get one free a year.
Well, if that's the case, I'm waiting until next year. Because odds are pretty good.
I'm gonna look through a crack in my windshield.
Right. You know they can get
for
bigger,
another
right?
7 months until.
Well, but actually, the crack is on the passenger side. So it's really on Ronnie's side of the car for when we're driving together. So that I'm going to go put some ice on my forehead. When we come back, we'll have the headlines that you missed while you were at work today. Everybody stay with us. We'll have that for you coming up next.
Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Never a dull moment with Joe Kelley. And we're seeing some brake lights now. I-4 westbound through Lake Mary, and then from Parr on to the 408. 408 eastbound also getting a little bit busier now as you make your way out of downtown. We're seeing more heavy delays here. Sand Lake to 535 and 192 on and off through Champions Gate. We had that earlier semi-truck that was flipped on its side. This is near mile marker 208 on the Turnpike southbound. This is south Osceola County. They do have everything on the right shoulder, but traffic is still backed up for just about a couple of miles, maybe 2.5 miles. So if you are headed south, you are going to find delays there. This report sponsored by Heron Home and Outdoor. At Heron Home and Outdoor, keeping the grass on your lawn green and your shrubs and trees in tip-top shape is their specialty. Visit myheronhome.com today for a free quote and money-saving offers. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
Now the three.
There's still time to grab a lottery ticket ahead of tonight's big Mega Millions drawing. The jackpot is estimated at just over $1.5 billion, making it the largest payout in the game's history. No one has taken home the top prize since April. Southwest Airlines is being sued by a mother from L.A. for racial discrimination. She claims employees accused her of trafficking her biracial daughter on a 2021 flight from San Jose to Denver. The woman says police were waiting for her and her daughter when they landed and was told a Southwest flight attendant called police about a possible case of human trafficking. Crews are scrambling to restore power across the eastern U.S. after severe storms pounded the region Monday. At least 2 people were killed and more than 1 million people lost power at the height of the outages.
Well, we have mixed messages in the comment thread. Some say yes and some say no. Oh, Popeye's spicy chicken tonight.
Ooh, yum.
Can I tell
I
you?
was trying to Google the windshield thing, and I'm not getting a clear answer anyway.
Can I tell you that I have all my life hated blackened anything, blackened chicken, blackened salmon, blackened fish, blackened whatever, just because. Well, we went out. Oh, we went to Ford's Garage, and Ronnie got blackened salmon, and she had some left over, and I'm like, well, I'll try it, but I don't like blackened. Evidently, I do like blackened. That is so good. I don't know what it was about blackened that I didn't like. It just, I don't.
Weird.
Yeah, I just had a mental block against it or something.
Okay, firstly, hi, Pam. I love you. Hi. Second, Joe. Hollander Law Firm's website says how many windshields are covered by insurance in Florida. And it says in Florida, you can get any windshield that's cracked or shattered replaced for free as long as you have comprehensive coverage insurance. Even if you haven't met your deductible, you don't have to pay anything out of pocket.
Good.
It doesn't happen. But if your windshield gets cracked in a car accident, you may not be able to get that replacement done for free. But it's not a car accident. So I think Beth is right. I think I'm wrong and Beth is right.
Did you guys get them done for free
Beth
in
is
March?
wrong and you're right.
Yes, Paul, we did get them done for free in March. We just called SafeLight and we told SafeLight through the app that we had insurance and they fixed it for free.
Honestly, it's very easy to book it. This is not an ad for SafeLight by any stretch, but it was very, very easy to book it through the app or their website. I think I booked it through their website. But you never have to talk to a human ever, which is my favorite way to do a transaction.
Until they come and then they're just like, hey, check my work. And you're like, that's good. And they're like, okay, bye.
Did they replace it or fix it?
Mine was just repaired. Joe, your whole windshield was replaced, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had to replace the whole windshield. And so
my wife has a divot in
whole
hers.
windshield replaced.
Yeah.
Did you guys
Paul,
know the
I just needed
countertops are
I would dig it
hard?
too.
I thought they were padded.
You're like a toddler. I heard it. I know. I saw you heard it.
I think I misjudged how far away the counter was. I went out. So sometimes I like to go out and walk around the building. If I get a break during the day, I'll go out and just walk laps around the building. But lately it's been storming so much in the afternoons. What are you guys staring at? Am I missing something? You guys are both staring at things.
No, I'm looking at traffic stuff.
Okay. So
I was looking at traffic.
So I went out today to walk around because it's not raining today. And I always sit on the other side of the building behind me
Joe. Hang
where
on.
there are no windows. Shut up, Paul. Sit down. Jerk. This right here, Paul, is why no one likes you. This moment right here. This is it. That's it right there. So I always go sit on the side of the building where nobody can see me, where there's no office windows or anything. And I will sit on the concrete patio over here on the side and I will sit there and pray. And that's pretty much what I do before the show is I'll sit and pray. And I will pray that God uses the position he has given me and the talent he has given me to help glorify the kingdom. And as I'm sitting on this concrete, I'm wearing jeans today and my tush is warming up so hot. And I'm like, God, send me a sign, Lord, send me a sign. I'm like, woo, woo. You know, that was the hottest sign I've ever had. I think I might have like 1st degree burns on my tush or 3rd degree. Which is the worst? I definitely have the worst.
So your head hurts and your tush hurts?
Yes.
I got to check this off of my list of things that we talked about today, and that's Joe Kelley's hot tush. So let me just mark that down.
Oh no, Paul. This is a wild start. We've only been on air for 20 minutes.
I feel like we've had a lifetime on the air already this first 20 minutes. It's funny, all you people in the chat room, you have a behind the scenes stuff that's just you can't pay for it. Not enough money in the world to pay for this stuff.
Honestly.
I pray before the show and I pray before I leave the house. Those are my 2 hard times. Glad you're joining us here on the Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. We got to welcome our newest member, Doug Rhodes. He's not allowed to talk. We're not there yet to allow him to talk, but he's new on the board on the.
I think it's Greg, isn't it, Greg?
Is that not what I said?
You said Doug.
Yeah, you said Doug.
I did.
I'm like, I thought his name was Greg.
I am so sorry.
I'm not even there, and I
Hey.
know his name's Greg.
Hey, Greg, I literally just hit my head on the counter, so forgive me. All right. If you're just
Welcome to the show, Greg.
it's not too late to back out, bro. You can change your mind if you want to. All right. So these are the headlines you missed while you're at work today. 7 hours ago, New York Times. To get this, this is interesting. A new obesity drug called Wegovy slashed the risk of serious heart problems by 20% in a large trial. That is going to be good news for people who are looking to lose some weight and not damage their heart at the same time. CNN had the story 6 hours ago. Ron DeSantis parts with his campaign manager and chooses a trusted advisor from his gubernatorial staff to lead his struggling White House bid. This, of course, comes just a month after a big shakeup from Governor DeSantis's campaign staff, and obviously not a good sign to be changing your campaign staff this late in the game. Fox News had the story 4 hours ago as the Supreme Court allows continued regulation of so-called ghost guns. Ghost guns, these are guns that are generally homemade and untraceable, and oftentimes, if not all the time, have no serial numbers on the guns. The Supreme Court is going to allow those regulations to stay in place, at least for now. CNN had the story 3 hours ago. Arrest warrants have been issued for the three men in the massive brawl at an Alabama riverfront dock. I assume you guys have all seen video of that brawl. And it was a bad brawl. I mean, it wasn't the kind of brawl that you'd want to see in a Hollywood movie. It was a bitch slap fest. I mean, it was just this weird brawl. And by chance, have you seen the satire videos that are coming out about it?
I have not laughed that hard in a long time.
So
I will say that some of these people are brilliant at bringing people together after some tragic thing like that.
Yes, some bunch of guys, black guys and white guys, got together. They're at the side of a pool. so funny because in real life, when it happened, a young black man jumped off the boat to swim to the dock to help the other black guy who was fighting off all the white guys, right? And so when the guys recreated it by the pool, sure enough, same thing. A black guy is swimming through the pool to get to the other side. And it's just the most asinine fight.
Did you notice they used the original audio from the original video?
Really? I didn't catch that.
They synced it up with the exact timing and everything. And the way that they did that, oh my gosh, Joe, I laughed so hard when I saw that.
I wouldn't even
early this morning.
I wouldn't even know how to tell you how to find that online. I wouldn't even know what words to Google to find that video. But it is very funny. If you stumbled across it, it's very funny. Let's see. Lastly, Bloomberg had the story from just 13 minutes ago. WeWork, you guys know what WeWork is, what they do. They market executive offices. So that is, if you have a company and you need to have an office space of some sort, you need to have a phone number, you need to have a street address, you need to have a mailing address. But you don't want to buy a big corporate building, but you need like one or two offices and a little bit of storage space. That's what WeWork is. It's an executive office. It's just like Venture X, which has a building in downtown Orlando. And hang on. Oh, it's so close to Regis. Regis also is an executive office building. Anyhow, WeWork says there is substantial doubt about its ability to continue operating, citing sustained losses and canceled memberships to its office spaces. And that is no surprise to anybody because of the pandemic. As people stopped needing offices, people stopped going to the offices. Even people who only needed one single office realized that they could just do it at home. And so even right now in downtown Orlando, we have so many vacant buildings. And I like to point this out every now and again just to remind everybody. But remember the building where Wahlburgers, the hamburger place, was, and now it's a Mexican restaurant. It's a taco and tequila place, but it's called Solitas in downtown. It's on Church and Orange Avenue. The scaffolding is up around that entire building, all the way to the top floor. I don't know how many floors it is, but it's maybe 12 or 15 stories high. They are converting that entire building to residential because nobody needs commercial space in downtown Orlando or anywhere else. So WeWork is having some problems. If you invested a lot of money in WeWork, in stock from them, you're probably struggling right about now. My name is Joe Kelley. Thank you for joining us here on the Joe Kelley Show. Coming up next, it seems like Disney is going to Bud Light themselves as they've hired a transgender TikTok influencer. We'll have that story and the audio for you next.
This is WDBO.
Good afternoon, 5:30 here at WDBO. Our top story, former President Trump in Windham, New Hampshire today, launching his administration's work with VA hospitals, touting the VA Accountability Act, which holds supervisors and higher-ranked employees accountable for misconduct or performance.
It was very much promises made, promises kept, and a couple of the really big ones, just as I promised, I proudly signed the VA Accountability Act, allowing us to quickly terminate VA bureaucrats and bad people.
In 2018, President Trump also signed a bill into law expanding private care for vets as an alternative to VA hospital care. Well, the FAA is referring 22 cases of unruly passengers to the FBI for criminal investigations.
The new batch of cases being handed to the FBI ranges from smoking on planes to assaulting flight crew members. These bring the total to 39 cases this year the FAA has sent to the FBI. Cases rose rapidly during the pandemic because of angry passengers who were told they had to wear a mask on board. Cases have dropped by over 80%, but in the current group, one involves allegedly making terrorist threats on board. Another is someone who allegedly airdropped a bomb threat to other passengers. The FBI will now choose the next steps. Alex Stone, ABC News.
The 5th annual WDBO Make-A-Wish Wish-a-thon is coming up Friday, August 25th. You can join Joe Kelley as he broadcasts live for this one-day Wish-a-thon event at Urban Air Adventure near Cranes Roost Park in Altamont Springs from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Special thank you to City Kia of Greater Orlando. Open up that WDBO app now and tap that Make-A-Wish button for the Wish-a-thon details and to donate. It's 5:32 here at WDBO. Karen, yeah, I don't know which Safelite was thinking when they sent all 3 technicians. We were hoping whoever, like the dispatcher in charge of Safelite, would see that we, like, because we made them all around the same time, and they would see the 3 appointments going to the 4192 John Young Parkway, and they would send the same guy out. But that's not, I don't know how they dispatch Safelite techs, but it didn't work out that way. Beth, I bet your wheelchair gets hot. Holy moly, I can only imagine. My seatbelt gets hot. I can imagine a wheelchair gets super hot. Oh, the Joe Kelley Show is trending, Chris. That's impressive. Okay, that's good. You don't have AC in your car, Brian? Oh, goodness gracious. Bless you. I've been there. I used to have a Saturn. I don't even know what it was called. I keep asking my husband because he knows car. I'm like, that little Saturn I have, what was it called? And he's like, a POS. I'm like, that's not what it was called. But it was a POS. It had no AC. I had the crank down windows. It would leak coolant. So every time I wanted to drive it, I had to pour coolant into it. Yeah, I got rid of that car. So bless you. I know how hot it can get in those non-AC cars.
to answer your question about how I got a text from my car, I think it was OnStar. So OnStar just let me know that there was a problem. But I don't subscribe to OnStar, which is kind of cool. So it still does basic things for your car. But then, so I don't have to. You Laurel, you probably the same. Your car is a Chevy, right? Your truck's a Chevy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's almost impossible to lock your keys in the car, right?
Yeah, I mean, now they have an app, and you can lock and unlock it with the app using OnStar in the app.
So I honestly don't think I'll need a ride home. I think I'll need a ride to Goodyear.
I can
Because
take you wherever. That's fine.
they're going to put the keys in the center console. And I think from the center console, I can still open my car door. But of course, anybody else could as well. So,
Yeah, just let me know. It's cool.
okay. If I paid for OnStar, they would have come out and changed the tire for me. No kidding. But see, I didn't want to change the tire. I could change the tire because I didn't want to put on a donut in the heat, and then you got to put on a. Oh, never
Yeah,
mind.
AAA, they changed it too.
That's what I have. Falls AAA. Yep.
I had AAA for a lot of years that I got handed down from my father. So for so many years, it said that I was a member longer than I'd been alive.
Looking at a crash here, I-4 westbound just past Lake Mary Boulevard. They did have the left lane closed. The ambulance and the fire truck have left the scene. Everything's on the left shoulder, but that still has traffic bunched up now just after 46A. Big delays into downtown as well. I-4 westbound from Parr onto the 408, and then we're seeing that you're on and off the brakes on the 408 eastbound all the way past Crystal Lake. This report sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. Talk and discussion on the latest breaking national news.
Crude oil prices continue to fall.
Local news.
You're not going to have Disney have its own government in Central Florida.
And stories that matter to you. Use the open mic in the WDBO app and let your voice be heard on the Joe Kelley Show.
Joe, can they not lock the keys in your car in the parking lot and then you pick it up after they close, after you get off? Just a thought. I'm sure you've got another set of keys.
Yeah, oh yeah, I do have another set of keys. Would you care to guess where my other set of keys are? They're at my house. They're not with, well, who carries around two sets of keys, right? I mean, no one, do you guys have your spare keys with you at all times?
No, I don't.
Yeah, so mine's at the house because Ronnie uses the other set of keys, which is all the way out in Hamlin in West Orange County. Speaking of which.
I would blame Hamlin 100%. The last few years with all the construction going on over there, every time I drive through, it seems like my tires pick up nails or screws or something. That's what I'd point the finger at.
And, you know, there is a lot of construction out in Hamlin, but prior to today, all of my flat tires came from living in downtown Orlando. So I don't know. Maybe it's the WDBO parking lot. Maybe it's here. And
Maybe.
I'm the only one who gets regular.
Yeah, you're picking them up for all of us.
Yes, I'm taking one for the team. Ooh, all right. So the Walt Disney Company has teamed up with a transgender TikTok influencer to promote apparel for girls, specifically Minnie Mouse themed clothes that include a red dress, yellow pumps, and a red hair bow. If this sounds at all familiar to you, this is something that Bud Light thought was a really, really good idea. And it has worked very, very badly for Bud Light. In fact, Bud Light making the announcement today that they're selling off a host of their other beer brands. They're pretty much selling off their craft beer portfolio. They are selling it to a Canadian cannabis company called Tilray. Tilray is going to be purchasing Shock Top Breckenridge Brewery, Blue Point Brewing Company, 10 Barrel Brewing Company, Red Hook Brewery, Widmer Brothers Brewing, Square Mile Cider Company, and Highball Energy. It's expected to be finalized in September next month for $85 million. That according to a filing from Tilray. So Anheuser-Busch is still suffering quite a bit from their now regrettable partnership with a trans TikTok influencer. Disney, of course, is not Budweiser. Budweiser is or was, red, white, and blue Americana. Honestly, and Disney used to be red, white, and blue Americana, but they just don't seem to be in recent years. But take a listen. Here is the audio from the video that Disney shared to their own social platforms. But this is the trans influencer. The influencer's name is Cian Altman, a biological male who identifies as gender fluid.
Let's get dressed. Today, we're looking at the most iconic friend group, Disney's Mickey and Friends. And the character most like me is Minnie Mouse. And I have the most perfect dress to start the look. It even has little Mickeys on it. And I love how bold of a red it is. It's just like Minnie. I'm thinking of layering a fun collar, like this one, just to give it a little more flair. But now I feel like the dress needs more shape. So let's add this white petticoat under it. It's so fun to move in, and I love how it peeks out at the bottom. And to add even more shape, this belt should do the trick. Now for hair, I'm thinking of doing space buns. So let's pull out my hair donuts, and just like that, it kind of looks like I have Minnie ears. And Minnie wears gloves, so I need gloves. I'm also going to add this watch with Minnie and all her friends on it. It's so cute. But now, to be as bold as Minnie, I need a bold red lip. It's a classic, and it's so pretty. Now, let's add some black tights and pull out the iconic yellow pump. I'm just like Minnie Mouse. But wait, something's missing. I know. How could I forget? A giant red bow, the biggest fashion statement. And now the look is complete. I literally look like Minnie Mouse, and I fit in perfectly with Mickey and his friends. The bow with the dress and the shoes really sealed the deal. Now I'm fashionable, bold, and fun, just like Minnie Mouse.
Oh, and honestly, if it was like my daughter wearing it, I would say it's a really cute outfit. But for that guy to be wearing it, and for what it's worth, that guy is built like Dylan Mulvaney. Looks very much like Dylan Mulvaney, tall and slender, and it is, if I may say, a cute Minnie Mouse outfit. Wonderful on my daughter. Laurel, you mentioned yesterday how you're a sucker for buying things at Disney.
Sure I am.
I'm sure you would similarly look adorable in the Minnie Mouse outfit, but it's a guy. It's a guy that's wearing these outfits. I mean, you can kind of tell from his voice. I think you could really tell from his voice that is a guy that is pretending to be a girl, or not even that, he's pretending to be gender fluid, whatever that happens to mean.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
Paul Cross is checking the drive here for us this afternoon, and it is sweltering hot, 96 degrees in the shade right now. You're out in the sun, and you're going to be feeling it. It is brutally hot right now. I hope you don't pull over on the side of the road with a problem, because you do not want to get out of your air-conditioned car.
Yeah, and I do hope you have air conditioning just to start things off there. Crash I-4 westbound just past Lake Mary Boulevard. Everything is on the left shoulder right now, but it is bunched up after 46A. Big delays continue into downtown. Then from Parr onto the 408 eastbound, you got a crash 408 eastbound before Goldenrod. 2 left lanes closed. And a broken down vehicle 417 northbound before the 528 stuck in the right lane. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
So share your reaction with us right now at 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. I'd mentioned in the setup to that, that Budweiser, is red, white, and blue, man. They used to be just the big red, white, and blue, guns and Chevrolet and Budweiser, and that was great. And honestly, aside from the guns and the Budweiser, Disney used to be, just true red, white, and blue Disney. And they've just changed so much. What is your take on their latest here? And in one sense, I admire their stick-to-itiveness, right? I admire that they're sticking with their transgender support, their transgender partnerships, their transgender philosophy. But in another sense, I feel like they're further alienating every other person who would want to visit their theme parks in favor of a segment of the population that cannot be more than 1%. It just cannot. And I'm not talking about homosexual. I'm not talking about people who are gay. I'm talking about people who identify as a different gender. People who are gay, certainly numbers higher than 1%. People who identify as transgender or gender fluid or any of the other letters in the LGBTQ+. I mean, that is such a small portion of the population. I don't know why any company anywhere would commit corporate suicide by hiring someone who doesn't represent mainstream, who doesn't represent mass appeal. And I think Disney is foolish to continue down this path. What do you think? 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app. Let me know your thoughts on that. In the meantime, coming up on August 25th, I am so excited to make this announcement. Our 5th annual WDBO Wish-a-thon for Make-A-Wish is coming up Friday, August 25th. We have a new location this year. We're going to be broadcasting from the brand new Urban Air Adventure near Cranes Roost Park in Altamont Springs. And it is going to be from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. One day only. Whereas last year it was like 3 days. In all the previous years, it was 3 days. But this year, we're going to cram it all into a 12-hour window from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. A big thanks to City Kia of Greater Orlando, once again being a partner of ours for this broadcast, and we're so excited about that. So thank you to City Kia of Greater Orlando. You can open up the WDBO app right now, tap the Make-A-Wish button for any of our Wish-a-thon details. You can donate now. You could get ahead of the curve if you wanted to and donate now, or you can wait until August 25th and make your donation at that time. Either way, we're certainly excited about doing this, and we're grateful for your participation, the big P word, in our Wish-a-thon for Make-A-Wish coming up on August 25th. 844-580-WDBO. Let's go to Gilbert in East Orlando. You're on WDBO. Hi, Gilbert.
Hi there. Hope you're having a beautiful Tuesday.
I am. Thanks.
Good to hear. I was listening to the radio, and you were saying about how Bud Light's doing the corporate suicide because they had a transgender partnership, and just how like transgender folks don't deserve representation. And I really wanted to express on your platform that there is nothing more American, in fact, than allowing transgenders to just live and pay taxes and be a part of the community. I get uncomfortable when I see people walk inside of a gas station barefoot. I don't want them banned. I just hope that they're having a better day. And I really am scared that we're going to forget about all the service men and women and all the service theys and thems who served, protected us from ISIS. Everybody's talking about transgender this, transgender that, but we have to remember, why are we talking about it so much? Like, there's a bigger picture, and I'm scared that the
Gilbert?
So yeah, just basically love everybody. Yeah. And don't worry about transgenders. They pay taxes. Worry about actual terrorism like Russia.
Well, hang on now, Gilbert. You brought up a lot to address, and I really want to address it with you. And if you could hold on, if you can hear the music in the background, that means there's a commercial break coming up. But if you could hang on for a minute, I want to have this discussion with you. So please stay right where you are, and we'll come right back and finish this discussion. Or at least, I don't think we could finish this discussion, but we'll continue the discussion coming up next. So stay right where you are.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Still have a crash 408 eastbound right before Goldenrod. It's blocking 2 left lanes. We've got a broken down vehicle on the 417 northbound before the 528. That has the right lane closed. And that crash I-4 westbound just past Lake Mary Boulevard. Everything's still on the left shoulder, but still very, very heavy as you pass 46A. This report sponsored by InvisibleFence.com. Strong enough for a Mastiff, gentle enough for a Chihuahua. Invisible Fence brand is more than a fence with hands-on training and exclusive solutions to give your pet more room to run. Learn more at InvisibleFence.com. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
HBO's Hard Knocks begins tonight. This year's training camp docuseries focuses on the New York Jets. It kicks off at 10 p.m. Eastern. BrainChip startup Neuralink has raised $280 million in a funding round through Peter Thiel's Founders Fund. This after the Elon Musk-founded company got federal approval for human clinical trials. The company has come under fire for reports of animal abuse, with rushed surgeries allegedly resulting in unnecessary suffering and death. Governor DeSantis making changes to his presidential campaign team. DeSantis is bringing in longtime Chief of Staff James Uthmeier to serve as his new presidential campaign manager. The reset comes weeks after the campaign laid off staffers to cut costs, and DeSantis trails former President Trump in the polls.
Paul, I don't know how to break this to you, but there is someone standing directly behind you. You need to be wary. And who is she to you? Is that your daughter? That's Mrs. Cross? Isn't she lovely looking? Look at her. Well, your wife is lovely. Lisa Cross. Woohoo! That was nice to have a PPI from Lisa, a personality pop in. She should have more PPIs on this show. We should do Spouse Day. Oh my gosh. We should do Spouse Day where all of our spouses do our jobs and we just sit back and laugh at them. You guys went, oh, that's so cute. You guys are adorable. Adorbs.
I know that Joe can't hear me, so when I speak, that's why I wasn't speaking, because Laurel was gone and Joe can't hear me. So sorry, I should have introduced everyone on the mic, but thank you. Did a pop in.
Right.
Oh, Stephanie, I'm much
it's fun
more
to meet all the staff
lucky than she
and
is.
their spouses.
It's one of the things about working from home. When the spouse gets home, they can do a pop in. So, Chris, I don't like you anymore. And I graduated high school a year before you were even born. Laurel's back.
Sorry, my bladder was going to explode.
I don't know if you got a chance to meet her. That was my wife.
Aw, I waved, but yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, flipping Chris. I met my wife 2 years before you were even born, so go figure, Chris. Enjoy that T-shirt. Enjoy that T-shirt, you young buck. Now you're banned from being on the radio.
So if any of you listen on Friday, My husband was with me on Friday, and I meant to live stream, but I forgot that in Joe's studio, I don't have the login for this stream platform. And then the one guy who could get it for me left. And I'm like, no, before I could think about grabbing it from him, he left. And I'm like, shoot, now I can't stream. So sorry about that. Someday we'll get him on. And
that was fun to have Alex on. That was great.
Thank you. Oops, sorry. Joe, I always push your button when in the middle of conversations you don't know we're having about you. Just kidding. Yes, you met Alex. That's very true. One of our costuming events.
Segments on topics that matter to Orange, Seminole, Osceola, and all of Central Florida. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
I love your show every night. You're doing great, bud.
All right, Gilbert, are you still with us here on the Joe Kelley Show?
Here.
All right. And I do want to. You said when during the beginning of our conversation in the last segment that I don't believe that transgenders deserve representation. I never said that, and I don't believe that. What I said was, and I think you would have to agree with this, is that Budweiser made a calculated, catastrophic mistake hiring Dylan Mulvaney or partnering with Dylan Mulvaney for a video. I mean, if you look at their bottom line, they have lost coming up on billions of dollars, and now they're forced to sell off a whole bunch of their craft beer portfolio. That was a mistake for them. Their founder even said that the heir of the founders said that the founders would be rolling over in their grave if they knew what happened. I mean, certainly you see that was a mistake on behalf of Anheuser-Busch.
I don't see it being a mistake that they made a partnership with transgender citizen of America. I see the mistake being that citizen of America they chose to partnership with wasn't 21, and you're a beer company. That's the issue.
Hang on. That's actually the first I've ever heard of that. You're telling me that Dylan Mulvaney is not 21 years old?
No, that was what the issue was. But
I'd never have heard that was the issue. That was.
They care about the crotch, and I don't get it. Like, if they're paying taxes, you gotta let these people live here. Like, they're just citizens, and what better place in the world for a transgender person to live freely and safely with equal rights in America? I mean,
Gilbert,
I
think I have a pretty good understanding of conservatives, as I am one, but I don't think there is a conservative in America, and I may be wrong about this, but conservatives don't want to stop people from being themselves. I mean, people want you to be you. You should be you and do you. And I think where people have problems with it is when some people feel as if it's being shoved down their throats. If people feel that a brand that they've known and loved, like Target or Budweiser, that they have used for a long, long time, suddenly partners with transgender or does something else. Look, there are snowflakes on both sides, Gilbert, and snowflakes get offended by it. And I'm not boycotting Budweiser nor Target because I don't typically drink Budweiser, nor do I go to Target anyway.
I do like a good Target run.
Gilbert, I appreciate you. I'm so sorry. Again, I'm out of time. But
one last sentence.
Go ahead.
I want people to remember, if you just replace the word transgender with American citizen, you'll feel more welcoming and more inclusive.
Gilbert, thank you so much for your call. Thanks for listening. I appreciate that very much. We'll continue coming up next on WDBO.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
And by the way, Dylan Mulvaney will be 27 in December. So there's some little bit of trivia for you.
So is that not the case then, Paul? So Dylan Mulvaney was 21 when because this just happened last year.
Yes.
So that was the first I'd ever heard of.
She's 26 now. She'll be 27 in December.
Yeah, I'd never heard that Dylan Mulvaney was
put
underage.
a 16-year-old as a spokesperson in beer or any liquor.
That
just
is
would not happen.
not true.
I just wanted to clear that up.
Yep.
Crash I-4 westbound past Lake Mary Boulevard, everything on the left shoulder, but you still have brake lights there. We're also looking very busy, both eastbound and westbound I-4 as you make your way through downtown. ProTech Air Conditioning and Plumbing Service for honesty, integrity, and 100% customer satisfaction. Call ProTech 407-291-1644 or visit protechac.com. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
WDBO Orlando, WOEX FM HD2 Orlando, W297BB Orlando. Powered by Talon Wealth Management. Visit guardingyournestegg.com. Listen everywhere with the WDBO app, a Cox Media Group station.
If you own a small to medium-sized business that kept employees on payroll through COVID, you may have a big cash refund waiting for you. The Employee Retention Credit is a tax credit of up to $26,000 per employee. And now, more businesses than ever qualify. The experts at RefundsPro.com specialize in cutting through the red tape of qualifying for this government program. Most of their refunds are
Good evening, 6:02 here at WDBO. Our top story, former President Trump in Windham, New Hampshire today, launching into his administration's work with the VA hospitals, touting the VA Accountability Act, which holds supervisors and higher-ranking employees accountable for misconduct or performance. The bad acts that preceded the Trump administration, he placed squarely on the shoulders of his predecessor.
We did things that were really amazing, and I'm proud of. Thousands of veterans were put on secret medical wait lists, and many of them left to die without receiving any care or any aid under Obama.
In 2018, President Trump also signed a bill into law expanding private care for vets as an alternative to VA hospital care. Another Central Florida county is moving forward with plans to update its 911 call system.
Osceola County approved an agreement that would bring the plan to board members in the coming weeks. It's designed to install next-gen 911 technology at dispatch call centers, which allows callers to send videos, text, and photos, and also improves GPS locations. Orange, Seminole, and Volusia counties have also signed off on the plan. Nicole Diaz, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580.
The 5th annual WDBO Make-A-Wish Wish-a-thon is Friday, August 25th. Join Joe Kelley as he broadcasts live for this one-day Wish-a-thon event at Urban Air Adventure near Cranes Roost Park in Altamont Springs from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Special thank you to City Kia of Greater Orlando. Open that WDBO app now and tap that Make-A-Wish button for the Wish-a-thon details and to donate. It's 6:04 here at WDBO. My computer just did a big blackout screen thing, y'all. So hopefully that doesn't mean that my stream is about to go down. Oh boy, it's being funky. If I disappear, you'll know why. My computer's revolted against me.
Someone just said something, and in my head, I said something terrible. They said this person's name was JJ Pfister. So you know what my joke was.
Yeah. In fact, I know exactly what your joke was.
But it was only in my head. It only played in my head. Pfister. Pfister.
Try and take it easy, outdoor workers. We appreciate what you do. For the afternoon, upper 90s, near record heat, but with a heat index above 110. And then a few spotty showers possible, especially mid-afternoon and through the evening. Not everybody gets the rain. The highest chance for rain today will be east of Orlando. Now, overnight through tomorrow morning, it's very humid, very muggy, upper 70s, generally quiet. No rain in the forecast tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon and evening, a few spotty storms after hitting 97 again. That heat index again, of course, near 110 or hotter. Thursday, Friday, mid-90s with a few scattered afternoon storms. The rain chances for the end of the week, those days, just a little higher. From Channel 9 Eyewitness News, I'm meteorologist George Waldenberger.
Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
We got a broken down vehicle on the 417 northbound at Dowden Road. It's on the right shoulder now. They've just pushed it over, but traffic is still very much heavy and backed up to Narcoossee. They have cleared up the crash 408 eastbound before Goldenrod, but we're still seeing really heavy delays on the 408 eastbound starting right at the I-4. Having tech issues? No worries. Visit Refresh Computers, Central Florida's budget computer store. Visit Refresh Computers in Longwood or at refreshcomputers.net. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Orlando's news and talk. News, weather, traffic, all the things you want on your drive home. Plus, Joe Kelley being, well, Joe Kelley. Now, the Joe Kelley Show on Orlando's news and talk, WDBO.
So while we were on the topic of transgender, I want to bring up Wayne Brady. Let's Make a Deal's host, Wayne Brady. He came out as pansexual. Now, I would have to look up what pansexual means, and I've got the definition here, but I'm just saying off the top of my head, I wouldn't have the slightest idea what pansexual means. I don't, but by saying that, I'm not belittling it. I'm not demeaning it. I just simply wouldn't know what it means. I'm ignorant of what pansexual means. I find it interesting about Wayne Brady, only in that, did you guys know he's an Orlando boy? He's from here. He went to Dr. Phillips High School. He wasn't born here, but he was raised here by like his grandma and his aunt. And he went to, like I said, Dr. Phillips High School. So he evidently came out as pansexual. I think he did it to People Magazine. Yeah, People Magazine. He's 51 years old. He's been on TV since 1990. He was on the Wayne Brady Show for a while. Whose Line Is It Anyway? A very funny comic. You know that Saks, not Saks, I think it's SAK, S-A-K, SAK Comedy downtown? That's a improv comedy troupe. He was part of that. In downtown Orlando. I mean, he's our guy, right? He's an Orlando boy. So he tells People Magazine, so I came to pansexual because, and I know that I'm completely messing up the dictionary meaning, he says, but to me, he says, pan means being able to be attracted to anyone who identifies as gay, straight, bi, transsexual, or non-binary. He continues, being able to be attracted across the board. And I think, at least for me right now, that is the proper place. I mean, so he is attracted to everybody, everything. Pansexual can typically be understood as a sexual identity used to describe being attracted to all genders, typically going beyond the male-female parameters. So does that change anything that you think or feel or otherwise knew about Wayne Brady? I don't watch Let's Make a Deal. In fact, I'm a little surprised to find that Let's Make a Deal is still on. Paul Cross, you've got a picture of you and Wayne Brady. What's up with that?
Yeah, Wayne, when I was doing smooth jazz, Wayne had a single out. And
talented guy, very talented
vocalist.
guy.
He's an extremely talented guy. And so that was taken, the picture that I just showed in the chat room, that was taken in Nashville, I want to say, or Austin, Texas, one of the two. I can't even remember. I know they're nowhere near each other, but I remember those are the two places that I've gone to with conferences. So very good guy. Pansexual, I know that means that he is not putting a label on a male or female. He's just saying, hey, if I fall in love with somebody and want to spend my time with them, that's what I do. It doesn't matter male or female.
And he has an ex-wife. He was married to a woman. And I don't know if he has children or not. So do you keep that picture of you and Wayne Brady handy, or did you know I was going to bring this up today?
No, it's on my.
You just keep it right there.
Computer here, and I just saw that you were talking about it. I have access to a lot of things, I got.
You are home,
so I can boom, boom, boom. So
hey, look, man, you guys know who I keep a picture of in my office here at the radio station, don't you? Who do
Mr. Vanilla Ice.
Picture of me and Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
Taken in the in the 1990s.
Well, being in the radio business for 40 years, you and I have both been in there for that long.
Yeah.
You're fortunate. You get to meet an awful lot of people.
You do.
Now, I have met more people than I even have pictures of, because we're talking, before the cameras were all over your phones and everything else too, and you met people. So I'm sure you've met some very high dignitaries and stuff, and you don't have pictures of them, but there are a few I do, and this one happens to be Wayne Brady. So.
There are some I have pictures with that I forgot that I even met. And I'll give you an example of that. One time I was playing a video game online, or I posted a video online, and it was, the game of 4 lies and 1 truth. And I said, and I gave a list of celebrities, and I said, one of these celebrities I have never met, all the other celebrities I have met. And of the list, the celebrities that I had never met was, oh heavens, the guy that does the parody songs. Weird Al Yankovic. I said, I've never met Weird Al Yankovic. And sure enough, I'm going through some old photo albums, and there's a picture of me with Weird Al Yankovic. And I'm like, oh, dang. Then whoever won that prize, that contest, that was wrong. Evidently, I have met Weird Al. I just didn't remember meeting Weird Al Yankovic.
And I have met Weird Al, and I don't have a picture.
Yeah, that works out that way sometimes. All right, so we've been reporting this here on WDBO. If your child has a nickname that they go by in school, they're going to have to get a permission slip this upcoming school year in Orange County. If they want to be called anything but their legal name in school, they got to get parental consent. That according to a new memo from Orange County Public Schools Office of Legal Services to district leaders and principals that went out on Monday. The new rule comes amid legislation that was adopted July 1st that requires school boards to implement a policy for educational records. School districts will in turn develop a form for parents to provide any required documents. That form is available on the Orange County Public School website, and it must be used for all deviations of a child's legal name. They use as an example, if your child's name is Robert, but he likes to go by Rob, the form needs to be filled out so teachers and staff can call your child Rob. Now, there is a funny routine from that comedian I like. What is his name? Not that one, the other one.
Not Nate Bargatze.
Oh, actually, yeah, it's Nate Bargatze. Nate Bargatze has a really funny routine where he says, because his name is Nate, and on his driver's license, it says Nathaniel. And he was going through TSA, and the plane ticket was made out to Nathaniel, but his license said Nate, and the guy at TSA was like, well, the names don't match. And he was like, come on, you can get there. You can see how we got there, right? I mean, so it's reached an absurd level at this point that if a child named Robert wants to go by Rob, that you have to get a signed permission slip from your parents to call that child Rob.
Joe, how many times in school have you met a person named Nathaniel and the teacher's up in front of the class and the teacher says they're taking roll, Nathaniel, and the kid goes, Nate, I'm here.
Right.
And then you just pass it off that, okay, he's named Nate. They can't do that. My wife's a teacher. You cannot do that anymore.
Not now.
You have to call that child Nathaniel until you get a letter from home saying it's okay.
Well, my name is a perfect example of different variations of nicknames. My name is Joseph James Kelley, and between Joseph and James, there's a lot of different names I could go by. Joe, Joey, Joseph, James, Jimmy, JJ. In fact, when I was but a young lass, I went by JJ. My parents called me JJ. Is that not the right word, a lass?
That's a girl.
Oh, is that right? Oh, lad. Sorry. When I was a young lad.
Since I was a little girl.
As soon as I said that, I saw Laurel's face. I'm like, wait a minute. I must have said something wrong.
I wanted to see where you were going to go with it.
So ever since I was a young lad, my folks called me JJ because the name Joseph James Kelley has a long history in my family. There's like literally 8 to 10 of us. And my uncle was Joseph James Kelley, but my father was not. So I am not a junior. But because my uncle was still alive at the time, they didn't want to call me Joe or Joey because of my Uncle Joe. So they called me JJ so it wouldn't be confusing. And then at some point, my parents got lazy and just started calling me Jay. They dropped one of the J's. Because for Pete's sake, how hard is it to say 2 letters, 2 syllables? JJ. So they shortened it to J. And I'll never forget, it was 6th grade. I had just moved to Texas from Seattle, Washington. And this was back, way before computers and stuff. I mean, I'm told, because I'm not that old really, but I'm certain that was before computers. But the first day of class, they would give you a little index card, and they would say, fill out your address, fill out your full name, and your parents' names, and put all this stuff on this index card, and then you turn them all in. And I remember I wrote down Joseph James Kelley, and the teacher looked over my shoulder and she said, well, why do they call you Jay? And I'm like, I have no idea why they call me Jay. And I literally went home that day, 6th grade, first day of 6th grade. Mom, Dad. And I had to ask, why do you call me Jay? That's not my name. And that's when they told me, well, we called you JJ. And then the story I've already told you, so I don't want to tell it again. But here I found this story in Newsweek, and in this irks me in Newsweek and how they're spinning this issue. So in Newsweek, they interviewed a guy named Alejandra. No, that's a woman then, isn't it? Alejandra Caraballo, a clinical instructor at Harvard Law School Cyber Law Clinic and an LGBTQ rights advocate. And this woman, Alejandra, says, in an attempt to crack down on trans students, Orange County Public Schools in Florida will now require signed parental permission slips for kids to go by any name not on their record. I'm sorry, that's not true. This has absolutely nothing to do with, quote, cracking down on trans students. This has everything to do with schools and school districts and teachers keeping parents out of the loop when a child expresses that he or she identifies as something other than he or she. How dare you say that this is an attempt to crack down on trans students? You are deliberately misinterpreting what the law is for. This is a parental rights bill. Period. End of sentence. This is so mom and dad have a right to know whether or not somebody is counseling their child to have their penis severed or to have some other genitalia put in place. That's important stuff. that parents need to know. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. Or use the open mic in the WDBO app.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Looking a lot better right now on I-4 westbound. We are up to speed through Lake Mary and Altamont Springs. Just a minor tap of the brakes as you get into downtown. 408 eastbound, though, they've cleared that wreck before Goldenrod, but it's still looking kind of busy here after Conway. So you're going to find some brake lights through that area. Other than that, we have our normal slowing in our areas of slowing. That's just Sand Lake to 535 and then past the Disney exits. This report sponsored by Wendy's Late Night. Wendy's drive-thru is open until midnight or later for all your late night cravings. So give in to what you want. Order a Baconator even later. Hours may vary at participating U.S. Wendy's. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
Someone could become a billionaire in just a few hours. The Mega Millions jackpot is now an estimated $1.58 billion, the largest in the game's history. Tonight's drawing will be held at 11 p.m. Eastern. It's a down day for Wall Street. Stocks closed lower after credit rating agency Moody's downgraded America's banking sector. As a result, banks like M&T Bank and Pinnacle Financial fell sharply. Land just outside the Grand Canyon National Park has been designated a national monument by President Biden. The designation will protect more than 1 million acres around the Grand Canyon from uranium mining. Native American tribes who hold the area as sacred have long sought protection of the area. I got fruit tea, but then you have to eat the fruit at the bottom, right? After all the stuff's gone. Fruit. I love these fruit teas. You can get them at boba places or tea places. But the problem is they put a bunch of chia seeds or something in there, and it freaks out my trypophobia. So I can't look at the tea I'm drinking. So now I'm eating the fruit out of it, so I have to look at it. But all the little dots are freaking me out.
That is so funny. My wife is like that too, Laurel. With she can't look at a sunflower. She doesn't like to look at the middle of a sunflower.
Yep, that's me too. Definitely, yeah. And what's funny is I've had it since I was little, and they didn't have a name for it until 6 years ago. But my mother had it, and me and my brother had it, and all we knew is she would look at something and she'd go, "Does that bother you?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, it makes my brain want to throw up." And everybody has it a little bit, but some people it. Thinking about it makes me want to throw up. I want to scrub my brain. And then 6 years ago, we were doing a news story. I remember we were in the old studio, and Samantha Jordan was anchoring, and she's like, I don't know, whatever, the Psychiatric Foundation, whatever, has named it's called the fear of holes. It's trypophobia. And I'm like, oh my God, that's what I have. I was so excited when they
My wife knew what it was. My wife knew the name.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of the extreme cases, everybody will be like, oh, that bothers you. And that bothers me. And the people say that because it actually comes from a part of our brain where way back when we were cave people, we would see frogs with spots on it or things with spot, like we knew they were poisonous. So all of us has that little kernel in it, but some of us, it just bothers us more than others. Anyways, today you all learned it is tea, Karen. Yeah, it's fruit tea. Fruit tea.
Connected to our community. Talk local issues and events with Joe Kelley. Use the open mic in the WDBO app and let Joe know what interests you. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
All right, moms and dads, school starts Thursday for Orange County schools. Orange, Osceola, Seminole County, they all start Thursday. And our kids are going to be heading back to school. And if your kid goes by a nickname other than what his or her legal name is, you will have to sign a document giving the school and teachers permission to be able to use that nickname with your son or daughter.
I think it's totally ridiculous that teachers can't call a kid Kim or Kimmy or Kimberly without having a piece of paper signed by their parents. This is just another one of those government overreaches.
Yeah, if that was the end of it, then I would say you're right. It's an unnecessary piece of bureaucratic paperwork that is being shoved into the faces of moms and dads and school districts everywhere. But the reason for this, the entire reason why this has been implemented is because schools, school districts, and some teachers have had a history of helping children hide things from their parents, encouraging children to not tell their parents, helping children who might be very young and very confused about their gender identity. And schools, some teachers, some districts will encourage the child to go by a different name, to wear chest binders, they'll get information about how to get puberty blockers, how to start drugs, how to get treatment, how to and this is the happy medium. This is the way that we're not going to call your kid by a name that they have chosen if the parents don't know about it. If little Ken wants to be a girl and be called Kendra, and the parent or the teacher starts calling the child Kendra and tells all the other students to call that child Kendra, but don't let your parents find out. This is what was happening in schools. This is not a made up problem. This was happening and happens in our public schools. So this is not just a layer of bureaucracy to keep people from from the Josephs of the world from being known as Joe or Joey. It's not what this is in place for.
As far as calling the trans kids by another name and their parents not knowing about it, maybe if the parents were closer to their own children, they wouldn't be so afraid to tell their folks who they are or who they feel they are.
Well, I think it's dangerous territory you're wading into there, blaming the parents. Are there some parents who rule the household with an iron fist and they're abusive and they might beat their kids if they come out and say that they're gay or that they don't identify as the gender that they were born with? Of course. But there are plenty of parents who don't understand what their children are faced with from the pressure they get at school, from both their peers and from teachers to identify as something else. I mean, trans acceptance is a big thing in schools. And that's one of the things that our children are facing is the fad of being a transgender person. So I wouldn't be so quick to blame the parents in this scenario. There are a lot of good, decent parents out there that aren't gonna, hurt their children if they come home and say, I want to be known as Kendra, not Ken. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326, or use the open mic in the WDBO app.
This is WDBO.
WDBO.
107.3 FM and AM 580.
Good evening, 6:30 here at WDBO. Our top story, former President Trump in Windham, New Hampshire today, delivering remarks thanking veterans for their service before launching into his administration's work with the VA hospitals.
This is a very big and important veteran state. I probably learned more about the veterans from dealing in New Hampshire than any other state. Please stand and receive our thanks. All veterans, do you mind? Please stand and receive our thanks. Thank you.
In 2018, President Trump signed a bill into law expanding private care for vets as an alternative to VA hospital care. Miami's mayor says he's now eligible to participate in the first GOP presidential debate.
Francis Suarez announced he officially crossed the threshold required to qualify for the GOP debate later this month. Suarez joined former President Trump and Governor Ron DeSantis as presidential candidates from Florida when he entered the race back in June. The debate is set to take place in Milwaukee on August 23rd. Nicole Diaz, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580.
The 5th annual WDBO Make-A-Wish Wish-a-thon is coming up Friday, August 25th. You can join Joe Kelley as he broadcasts live for this one-day wish-a-thon event at Urban Air Adventure near Cranes Roost Park in Altamont Springs, happening 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Special thanks to City Kia of Greater Orlando. Open up that WDBO app now and tap that Make-A-Wish button to get the details and to donate. It's 6:32 here at WDBO. Yes, the Lotus, blah, 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 blah. That Lotus stuff is terrible, Chris. You're right. I don't even want to Google it again because, nope. Yucky. No.
Hey, have we discussed what we're having for dinner yet?
No, I don't think we have. Oh, gosh. I think my husband just texted me about it.
I'd like to know what everybody's having.
Sausages and peppers for me.
Really?
Apparently. That's what I just got texted.
Paul?
I have a going away dinner at a buffet place that I have to go to right after this.
He has a going away dinner at a buffet place he has to go to right
Who's
after
going
this.
away?
Some friends of ours.
Friends of theirs.
Oh, good.
Nobody here. Friends of theirs.
Oh. I was worried it was Paul. Whew.
Yeah, Karen told us Popeyes.
Popeye's spicy chicken. That Popeye's spicy chicken is pretty good.
Chicken sauce. That sounds good, Jude. Yum.
Hey, Jude. Excuse me. So we have 8 steps we have to climb to get into this building. 8 steps is the employee entrance. And last week, this time, I couldn't get 8 steps up without losing my breath. And today, I have no problem walking the steps. I don't lose my breath at all. Wow. I mean, what a difference a liter and a half makes. Can I tell you what's aggravating about the American healthcare system?
You know, how many pounds is a liter?
So I'm trying to get back. So the same cardiologist who put me in the hospital last week, I'm trying to get a follow-up appointment with him. Do you know when they said I could see him? October. Hang on. It's just barely August, September, and it was late October. 3 months. The guy put me in the damn hospital, and I got to wait 3 months for a follow-up. I'll be in the hospital again before that happens.
Now imagine if we had free health care. You wouldn't see him for another year.
Oh, for another year, yeah. By the way, Jude, I
cannot
missed the
believe how long
green
it
chili.
takes.
like the real good hatch green chili, the ones that are being cooked right outside the Walmarts and the grocery stores that you can, when you go to shop, you just smell that green chili. Oh, we miss that so much in New Mexico. Because that's the thing, when you go to any restaurant, I don't care what restaurant it is, when you're in New Mexico, you go into any restaurant and the standard question is red or green? What do you want, you know?
Better.
Have you ever lived in New Mexico, Joe?
I did. I lived in Albuquerque.
Paul was talking
ALBUQUQ. Oh, hang on. Now you've messed me up talking.
Paul was talking about how he misses the green and red peppers. The
hatch peppers.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me tell you,
Green.
you've not had hot peppers until you've had hatch peppers. I'm
not a hot
still
guy. I
walk
like the
limb
flavor.
After having those hatch green peppers. They're hot.
Yeah, I can't do the hot.
I lived on Osuna Boulevard in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I worked at KKSS radio. What did we go by?
Kiss.
Kiss,
right?
of course. There's only one actual Kiss, KISS, in America. Do you know what city it's in? I bet Paul knows. Because I worked for 2 Kiss radio stations, but neither was spelled right. The actual KISS is in San Antonio, Texas, and it's a rock and roll station.
It better be.
I know radio. Right. Kiss in LA is KIIS. I worked at Kiss in Bryan College Station, Texas, and it was KYKS. Can I tell you, I lived in Albuquerque only for about 8 or 9 months. I was sick the whole time I was there. And I didn't realize until I left that it was altitude sickness. I mean, I just cannot deal with altitude.
Mile high.
Because Denver is famous for being the mile high city.
That are not working at 436 and Dahlia Drive, and then on Colonial at Magnolia. Just remember to keep all those as a 4-way stop, because when you don't have traffic lights working, that's never a good thing. But it isn't a bad drive on I-4 right now. It's back up to speed westbound between Lake Mary and downtown. Just a minor tap of the brakes eastbound between Parr and Lee, and then 417 to the bridge. This report sponsored by Wendy's Late Night. Wendy's drive-thru is open until midnight or later for all your late night cravings. So give into what you want. Order a Baconator even later. Hours may vary at participating U.S. Wendy's. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. Insightful.
You tell the truth from your point of view.
Entertaining.
Man, that guy is a lot taller than he sounds on the radio.
And engaging.
When we hear you on the radio, it's a good thing.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
I still think I'm offended by that when the guy says, you tell the truth from your point of view. Well, that sounds like, you know, that is not, it's not real truth. It's my truth. And I don't like that. I like to think as I tell the truth, not just, you know, my truth. So I think we need to have someone excise that, just remove it, take it out. What do you think? Yeah, good call. Nancy Pelosi, you guys, I know how much y'all love Nancy Pelosi. She is America's most beloved congresswoman. Nancy Pelosi has called the latest indictment against Donald Trump, quote, beautiful, and asserted that if he is elected as president again, it will mean the end of America completely. Oh, Nancy Pelosi. Do you know what Nancy Pelosi just did? She just increased Trump's likelihood of winning the presidency probably by about 5 points. Nancy Pelosi, your acidic, mean, bitter, hateful rhetoric only empowers Donald Trump. How do you not know that? How have you not learned that? How can a simpleton like me understand that, but a seasoned politician like Nancy Pelosi, and I'm being nice by calling her a seasoned politician rather than what she is.
She made the comments to New York Magazine. She said the indictments against the president are exquisite. They're beautiful and intricate, and they probably have a better chance of conviction than anything that I would have come up with. That doesn't say much. When asked about whether the possibility of another Trump presidency, Pelosi commanded the reporter, it reads, "Don't even think of that." She commanded the reporter. I love this line. Commanded the reporter. Don't even think of that. Don't think of the world being on fire, she said. She continued, "It cannot happen, or we will not be the United States of America. If he were to be president, it would be a criminal enterprise in the White House." She said that, by the way, without a single hint of irony. Pelosi, for her part, made the comments after Donald Trump labeled her a wicked witch and a demented psycho who will reside in hell when she dies. Look, Donald Trump, that's not any better, okay? I'm sorry, but the rhetoric on both sides is garbage. I long for the days of civility in politics. I long for the days of civility in debates, civility in discussions. I long for the days when we don't have dockside fist fights at a port in Alabama because somebody parked a boat where the city boat is supposed to be parked. I long for the days when we don't have to hate each other for ideological reasons, for political reasons. I just wish we could roll back the clock. I don't know how far we'd have to roll back the clock, because I know that we have had political divisiveness since day one of this country. And frankly, since day one of humanity, we have had strife and division amongst our humans. But you would think that Nancy Pelosi would know better than to make comments like that, because honest to goodness, Nancy Pelosi at this point has nothing to lose. But Donald Trump still has the possibility of being elected president again. And the people who love Donald Trump, even the people who simply tolerate Donald Trump, even the people who will hold their nose, pinch their nose while voting for Donald Trump, they all hate Nancy Pelosi. And if Nancy Pelosi declares that America will cease to exist if Donald Trump becomes president again, then Nancy Pelosi might as well join the Donald Trump campaign, because her comments will be helping Donald Trump's reelection, frankly, at this point, more than anything that Donald Trump could say himself. Foolish commentary from Nancy Pelosi. I'm sure she feels like I got a good one on Donald Trump. Oh, I burned Donald Trump. But all she did was make him more powerful. And look, I think Donald Trump's comments about Nancy Pelosi are just as silly and juvenile, calling her a wicked witch and a demented psycho who will reside in hell when she dies. We don't know who is going to be residing in hell and who is not going to be residing in hell. You guys know that I fly drones. I was very excited today to see this story about drones. Somebody in Australia has built a drone with a sniper rifle attached to it. A sniper rifle on a drone. Now, this is not one of your small DJI drones like I have. This is going to be a large gas-powered quadcopter. In fact, it's more than quad. It has 8 propellers. So what does that make it? An octocopter is an 8-bladed drone, an octocopter. So I think it is. So it's a gas-powered octocopter, and they built this drone with a sniper rifle on it to shoot hogs, wild hogs. I don't know if you guys know the hazard of wild hogs. Wild hogs, is it called rooting? They root and they dig everything up. They dig up people's front yards. They dig up people's backyards. They dig up people's farmland. They dig up everything. And man, pigs, hogs reproduce at a staggering rate. And I have never been hunting a day in my life. If I were to ever take up hunting, I would want to hunt hogs because hogs are so detrimental to our landscape. Deer are a close second. Deer are also cause billions of dollars a year in agricultural losses. And deer happen to be the most fatal animal in America. Because of collisions on the roadways, deer cause more people to die in America every year than any other animal. Not shark bites or bear attacks or anything else like that, but deer. So that's why they're developing a sniper drone to help with the overpopulation of feral hogs. 844-580-WDBO or use the open mic in the WDBO app.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
We still have some traffic lights that are not working. 436 at Dahlia Drive and on Colonial at Magnolia. That's just east of I-4, a very busy area, so just be aware of that. I-4 remains trouble-free westbound between Lake Mary and downtown, and just a minor tap of the brakes here between Parr and Lee on the eastbound side, and then 417 to the bridge. Having tech issues? No worries. Visit Refresh Computers, Central Florida's budget computer store. Visit Refresh Computers in Longwood or at refreshcomputers.net. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
Now.
Someone could become a billionaire in just a few hours. The Mega Millions jackpot is now an estimated $1.58 billion. That's the largest in the game's history. Tonight's drawing will be held at 11 p.m. Eastern. Russia launched 2 successful missile strikes in what's being called a particularly evil attack in Ukraine. Officials say Russia overnight fired a missile at an apartment building full of civilians in eastern Ukraine, then fired another missile at first responders. At least 7 people were killed, including rescue workers. The Biden administration's restrictions on so-called ghost guns will remain in place for now. The Supreme Court, in an emergency ruling, agreed to pause the lower court's decision and validating the regulations as the administration carries out its appeal. The case is scheduled for oral arguments next month. Y'all, so we just don't judge me. We just took down our Christmas ornaments this weekend. So my husband wanted to keep up the Christmas decorations like for a while, right? So, because he liked them, he liked the lights, he liked the ambiance. And then it gets to a point where I'm like, okay, we can leave them up February, March. And then we got really busy. Like every weekend we had something to do, every single weekend. And so we just didn't have time. We didn't have time. And so finally this weekend, I'm like, that is it. We left the tree up because I make a Halloween tree. So I'm like, we might as well leave the tree up, but I'm taking the ornaments down. So I wrapped up all the ornaments. Actually, we had 2 trees. We had one in the living room and a little one in my office. And I finally wrapped all the ornaments. Now I know I'm going to have to get them out again in 3 months, but at least I can put my Halloween tree up now. Anybody have their Halloween stuff up yet? Am I jumping the gun? Halloween's my favorite. And you know what? My birthday's in a few weeks. So I feel like happy birthday, Laurel. Put up your Halloween decorations.
Laurel, my wife and I have had 20 years of Halloween parties. And we have... Oh, you hear me? Oh, yeah, we have 20 years of Halloween parties. And so our entire house gets transformed into a haunted house. We have so many boxes. I've got an entire storage unit full of stuff. And we just stopped doing them because I'm getting too old for this ish. And I can't deal with it. It's just too much. So we might have lots of Halloween stuff if you want to partake in taking it off our hands.
Yeah. If you're giving, let me know.
I mean, I don't know if do you have parties? Do you do things? You decorate, obviously.
Yeah. I'm huge on decorating inside and outside. I haven't had a party at my house yet, but we've only been there a couple of years. I definitely want to.
Dear goodness. I'll share you a photo album of the stuff that I've done in the parties.
Yes, please do. I want to see it all.
We're talking full coffins in the house. We're talking full skeletal horse and buggy out in the backyard.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I mean, we go all out, but we have so much stuff.
My boyfriend, when I was in high school, lived with his grandmother, and that's how his grandmother's house was. So ever since I was a kid, I'm like, when I grow up and have my own house, I want to have everything Halloween everywhere. I want to do all of it.
And now at our new homeowners association, if I have something this tall in the front yard, they're going to write me up for it. So you can't even do that stuff now. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Everything is.
Yeah, our HOA technically has rules about when we're allowed to put them up and take them down, but nobody listens to it. So
they don't want it. We can only have a certain amount of statues in the front. We can have a certain flag, but not. It's just so bizarre.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. August 20th is my birthday, Cindy.
Really? It's my daughter's birthday, August 20th. Oh, really?
Neat. Very neat.
Now, the Joe Kelley Show on Orlando's News and Talk, WDBO.
By the way, there's a video you got to watch. Laurel, have you seen the video yet that I posted to WDBO.com? There's a scientist who goes out into the ocean and he gets just a little tiny cup of water and then he puts it under a microscope. You know how some people are afraid of the ocean? What is that called when you're afraid of the ocean? Is it thalassophobia or phobia or something like that? Because, a lot of people are afraid of the ocean because, it's deep and it's vast and there's sharks.
You were close. It's thalassophobia.
Thalassophobia. All right. So a lot of people are afraid of the ocean because of these giant, you never know if there's going to be a shark there or a moray eel or a crab is going to grab you or whatever the case is. Well, this guy is a microbiologist. And once you see what's really in the water in the ocean, I'm telling you, you're never going to want to go in the ocean ever, ever, ever again. I had mild, even almost non-existent thalassophobia. But now after seeing the microbiology of the ocean, I'm like, there is no way I'm ever going in the ocean ever again. So he takes just a couple drops and puts it on a slide and sticks it under the microscope. And there is so much life in the ocean that you cannot see. And you think that you're afraid of the things that you can see, or I guess can't see, that only because they're down by your toes. It's the tiny little things. And I could name all these things for you. And I'm not going to be able to name any of these things for you because they are words that would take me some time to learn to pronounce. All of these little microcosms, microorganisms that he found, even just little grains of sand, just in a normal cup of water that he didn't drag off the bottom. But if you want to see this video, it's remarkably well done. This guy evidently has a massive TikTok following. His name is Adolfo Sanchez Blanco. He's got about 500,000 followers on TikTok.
But you might want to see the video. If you spend a lot of time at the beach, you might want to see this video. Just look for this story in the WDBO app. I think we sent a push alert on it a little while ago. If you haven't subscribed to our push alerts, make sure you do that. Just open up the WDBO app and you can sign up for the push alerts from there. It's easy peasy and it's completely free. Don't forget, coming up Friday, August 25th, it is the 5th annual WDBO Wish-a-thon for Make-A-Wish. I'm very, very excited about it this year. It's going to be a one-day, 12-hour fundraising event, and we've got a big goal, $60,000 this year. So make sure you make plans to join us on August 25th. Everybody in our chat group, I'd love to see you out there on location on that day at some point or another. My name is Joe Kelley. Thank you, Laurel and Paul, and the new guy, who evidently is named Greg, not Doug. We learned that today, and by we, I mean I learned that today. So big welcome to Greg, not Doug. I think that'll be his new name, Greg, not Doug. Coming up next, it's a third hour of the Sean Hannity Show. We'll see you back here tomorrow on WDBO.
Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Looking pretty good right now.
Orlando,
Looking pretty good right now on I-4. We are trouble-free both directions between Lake Mary and downtown. I-4 westbound still bunched up from Sand Lake to 535. This report sponsored by Wendy's Late Night. Wendy's drive-thru is open until midnight or later for all your late-night cravings, so give into what you want. Order a Baconator even later. Hours may vary at participating U.S. Wendy's. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
WDBO.
So don't talk, Laurel. Your room is still on. So that little mistake there, that was actually made by Doug, not Greg. So Doug is very bad, but Greg is very good. So his alter ego is going to be Doug, evidently, from now on. Paul, love you, brother. Laurel, love you. Thank you. Laurel, maybe a drive to Goodyear or something like that would be awesome. And that's it. Thanks you guys so much for joining us here in the chat today. And we can't wait to see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a good night.